Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about a study that I found from Turkey that was investigating smoking's impact on the passage rate of kidney stones. In particular, they were looking to analyze the effect of smoking on passage rates for kidney stones that were located in the distal or the lower portion of the ureter. More specifically though, they were curious about nicotine. Now there was a study that was done in dogs where nicotine positively impacted peristalsis, which is the contraction and relaxation type of action that can be found in multiple systems throughout our body, but in particular in this instance within the ureter, that can help to work a stone out of the system. And they wanted to know, would it have the same effect on human beings? So when they took a look and structured this study, they looked at 88 patients with stones that were less than 10 millimeters in size, and they grouped them by smokers and non-smokers. Over the course of a 4-week period, they were looking and having feedback come back to them. And one other important note was there were no patients on alpha blockers, which, for those of you that are aware, alpha blockers can help increase spontaneous stone passage rates. Now, when it comes to the results of this, when they're taking a look at this data, this is all broken out by stone size. So for stones that were between 1 and 4 millimeters, smokers and non-smokers is effectively the same. The only reason that this number is a little bit lower is they had a bigger sample size of people who were non-smokers. So if a couple people missed it, this number dropped down a couple percentage points versus a smaller number that does not have as much of an impact. So when it comes to stones that were 4 to 8 millimeters in size, again, roughly about the same size, 60 to 65% passage rate. But the real curious thing came in with stones that were between 8 and 10 millimeters. None of the smokers in this study passed their kidney stone. However, 80% of the non-smokers passed their stone. Now, I do want to just add a little bit of a note to this because this is an epidemiological study, and that means that it's observational in nature and there are no interventions that are being done. So they are really just strictly looking at the data and making observations on that. And that's important to note because I'm sure all of us have heard that correlation is not causation. So take this information with a grain of salt. So let's talk about some of the conclusions that we can draw from this. So the data suggests here that passage rates of stones that are less than 5 millimeters is going to be roughly 68%. And this is pretty much on par with the American Urological Association's data as well for stones that are less than 5 millimeters. Typically they say it's around 80% in the latest data that I've seen. And if any of you are curious, so if you were ever or recently at hospital or in the ER and you had a kidney stone that was right on the border here, this 5 millimeter is a guideline, and that's the cutoff point for whether or not they suggest that you go home and you take a tamsulosin or something along those lines to help pass the stone, or if you're suggested for some type of a surgical intervention. 5 millimeters is kind of that tipping point in the United States. Now, when it came to the passage rates of stones that were greater than 4 millimeters, smokers passed 46% of their stones, while non-smokers passed 67% of their stones. So non-smokers enjoyed a 21% increase here when it came to stone passage rate over their smoking comparison. And then again, just down here, talking about this 8 to 10 millimeter comparison, no smokers passed and 80% of non-smokers ended up passing their stone. So again, this is an epidemiological study, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. So are you a smoker or non-smoker? What's been your experience with passing a kidney stone? Maybe you've had kidney stones while you're smoking for a period of time in your life and you stopped. Curious to know what the impact was with you. So please leave some comments down in the comment section below and let's have a chat. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll see you again in the next video.